Helmut Marko has always been a source of controversy in Formula 1, but his racist comments about Sergio Perez crossed the line. Most of the time, his comments are forthright and divisive, but rarely actually offensive. His incorrect racial stereotyping of Checo has brought the weight of the FIA, the world's press, and the rest of the grid onto him. But does Marko actually care? Stick around to find out. I'm going to start at the end with this story. So before last weekend's Grand Prix in Singapore, the FIA issued Helmut Marko with an official written warning for making racist remarks about his own driver Sergio Perez. The fact that the racial stereotype he employed doesn't even apply to Checo is a hilarious side note, but we'll come back to that. An FIA spokesperson said to Sky News, "We can confirm that Helmut Marko has received a written warning and been reminded of his responsibilities as a public figure in motorsport in line with the FIA Code of Ethics." The Red Bull racing community has been notably silent on the matter, sparking questions from fans as well as seven-time F1 champion Lewis Hamilton, who claimed it was odd that Red Bull did not release a statement. In conversation with Sky Sports F1, team principal and CEO of Red Bull Racing Christian Horner provided clarity on the team's stance, stating, "Those comments weren't right. Helmut quickly recognized that and apologized for that both publicly and directly to Sergio." He also emphasized Red Bull's global fan base and the importance of their responsibility, especially concerning Sergio Perez, citing his popularity and significance to the team. Horner concluded, "From Helmut's perspective, he has apologized. He's not an employee of Red Bull Racing, so in terms of why didn't we put out a statement, he's part of the Red Bull group and the group issued an apology through the service TV channel." Now, Christian is technically correct. Helmut is not officially a part of the team. He works as part of the Red Bull Group in a talent development role, and from that station works as an advisor to Red Bull and the AlphaTauri teams. Perhaps Juri Vips' sacking from the Red Bull development program could have been avoided with a less prejudiced mentor, but that's in the past now. Helmut's vocal voice and regular presence in the Red Bull garage means he's closely associated with the team, even if not technically employed by them, and Red Bull should have made a statement sooner. After Helmut's comments had been picked up by the media, he was made to apologize publicly. Before the FIA issued him a warning, he apologized on Red Bull-owned broadcaster Service TV, saying, "I want to make it absolutely clear that I do not believe that we can generalize about the people from any country, any race, any ethnicity. I was trying to make a point that Checo has fluctuated in his performance this year, but it was wrong to attribute that to his cultural heritage." Since receiving his written warning from the FIA, though, his opinion on the matter seems to have changed. A lot of things were deliberately controlled, but I don't want to say any more on this topic. Clearly Marko wasn't happy with the official warning for his behavior, though considering Juri Vips' sacking, he's perhaps lucky he got off how he did. Marko's comment implies that there is some kind of conspiracy against him. By saying a lot of things were deliberately controlled, he implies that this situation was somehow manipulated against him. What or how it was manipulated, he doesn't want to say, so we don't know how he got to this conclusion. I just want to know what he expected to happen when he made racist comments about one of his own drivers. That no one would care? That people would agree with him? That he would be ignored as he so often is? Who knows, but this isn't about a situation being twisted against him. This is just him having to take responsibility for his actions. But we started this story at the end, so how did Marko actually get himself into this mess? In an interview for Sport and Talk on Service TV, the Red Bull technical advisor spoke of the mental strength of his drivers. Helmut stated that Checo is South American, and therefore his head is not as focused as Max Verstappen's or Sebastian Vettel's, but racing is his forte and he has a very good pace. This wasn't the only time Marko has made a remark like this. As a South American, he has a lot of ups and downs, he commented on Sky Germany. For starters, Checo isn't even South American, he's from Mexico, which is very much in North America. So saying that Sergio's inconsistency this season is because he's South American is just moronic. Secondly, even if Checo was South American, why would that have any effect on his mentality as a driver? Perhaps Marko has never heard of the previous drivers' champions Ayrton Senna, Emerson Fittipaldi or Juan Manuel Fangio, all of whom came from South America. In terms of win percentage, Fangio is the most successful Formula 1 driver of all time, winning the championship 4 times in his 7 full seasons in the sport, winning 46% of all the races he entered. How he managed that with his unfocused South American mentality is really incredible. After 2 days of criticism and demand for clarification over his comments, Marko decided to double down, saying, "I didn't mean that. I meant to say that a Mexican has a different mentality than a German or a Dutchman. But who knows, maybe it's under control. 2 days to consider a follow-up, and this is the best he could come up with? It's not exactly remorseful, is it? The press and the rest of the grid have taken a far sterner view of the comments than Red Bull have. The press have a little more freedom with what they can say, of course. The rest of the team principals and drivers have to be a little more careful. In his comment in Germany's Der Westen, Daniel Sobolewski demanded that the F1 team should crack down on Helmut Marko and remove him from his duties, although he didn't think they would. Red Bull has no choice. After a racist slip of the tongue, a prominent figure has to be sacked. Red Bull will fire its boss? It really is unimaginable, he said. The German journalist gave the comparison of when Red Bull sacked Juri Vips last year. The harsh reaction to a similar case last year with Juri Vips really leaves the F1 leader with no choice. Now the team has to show that it is serious. This time, it's not a small talent from an academy, but one of the top minds, Helmut Marko, the Red Bull strongman behind Christian Horner. Obviously, Marko hasn't been sacked. Should he have been, though? Why don't you give me your opinion in the comments down below? The rest of the grid condemned Marko's comments, but it was the Mercedes team who were the most vocal, with team boss Toto Wolff saying, "It's not only what has been said, but it's the mindset that you can even come up with these things, and that hasn't got any place in Formula 1. That's not something that should have been said in the past, and certainly not now in the future." Continuing, he emphasized the ongoing efforts in the F1 community to promote diversity, adding, "We all know that we need more diversity in Formula 1, more inclusion, and the teams do their best to create an environment where this is possible. Obviously, statements like this don't shine the light on Formula 1 it deserves for all of its activities." It is Lewis Hamilton who has come out strongest, though. It isn't just Marko's comments that are the issue, it is the lack of action by Red Bull and Formula 1 that is an issue. Is a written warning that hasn't been made public really the best the sport could manage? Asked by Sky if he was surprised there had been no statement from senior figures within F1, Hamilton said, "I think this is not something that you just apologise for, and it is all okay. I think there needs to be more done. I think teams, when they've had individuals, particularly drivers, make comments, but also some individuals in the back room, they usually are removed, or at least they put out a quote and say they don't support that sort of thing. So it is interesting they haven't done so for this one." Back in 2019, Hamilton's own Mercedes team sacked 4 staff members over racist bullying, while Red Bull also dismissed an employee last year after racist WhatsApp messages appeared on social media. Hamilton said that Marko's comments were damaging for F1's own crusade to be more inclusive and drive out discrimination. "I mean, it's completely unacceptable what he said. And while we say there is no room for any type of discrimination within the sport, which there should be no room for, to have leaders and people in this position making comments like this is not good for us moving forward. Red Bull and Formula 1's lack of action, as well as Marko's lack of remorse, is an issue. Is this a case of the rules only applying to certain people? Is there a certain level you reach within a team where comments like Marko's become okay? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.